meeting. Well, first, welcome everybody. A joint meeting of the Board of Public Works Commissioners and the Committee of Infrastructure is being held this Thursday, August 28, 2025 at 5:35 p.m. at 848 West Hollow Street. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. Sorry.
Do I have to put, okay, there it is. Yeah, okay. Commissioner Espezia?
Here.
Commissioner Gregg?
Here.
Commissioner Lemon?
Here.
Commissioner Shea?
Here.
Alderman Thibodeau?
Here.
Alderman Sullivan?
Here.
Alderman Clee is here. Alderman Dowd? And Chairman Alderman Mike O'Brien.
Present.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 people in attendance.
Okay, also in attendance is Mayor Dodges, which he is a member of the Public Works Commission.
Oh, okay, she didn't have him here, sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, that's understandable. And
Director.
give you just basic introduction remarks here. We're without the services of Administrative Director Tim Cummings, who is really on top of it. So coming in to pitch hit in the inning will be Director Photo, who will get into it. I'm sure she would appreciate not really diving too deep, you know.
I've been with side by side with Tim. I
You'd be
think
able to go
I'll be
with
good.
it.
She can hold her own.
Yeah, but with Director Cummings gone, it's going to be a different format. So, with that being said, we're going to muddle through. Okay, public comment. You want to just grab a mic and just stand
Probably
next to a
there's a
mic or
seat.
something?
Right over there. You want to sit there?
Good evening. My name is Paula Johnson. I live right over here, 15 Westbourne Drive, right off of West Hollis Street, where all of these new vehicles are going to be cramming West Hollis Street. That we have no West Hollis Street corridor plan because we don't have the money to do it, to fix West Hollis Street. I have a couple of concerns here about this new garage. I know somebody who used to work for Public Works, and I've been asking him a lot of questions about this garage and about what's going to do. And I made mention of it at the board, I think it was a budget committee, that I read notes from my cell phone because I'm not a member of the board. I can read it, doesn't become public comment. So I've got some questions, and I would appreciate it if I can get answers to these questions, probably in a form of an email, probably because, I don't know, Director Photo, if you can answer them, or Director Cummings, and maybe everybody with this joint board would like to discuss this. Is the CNGs, will that be in a separate part of the building? Because of that, how big is the garage going to be? Because I know you want to put all these vehicles inside, and I know the CNG vehicles have to be inside, and they can't be around other vehicles, and you need, I believe, you need to have a separate alarm system for this in case something happens. So that's what I want to kind of find out. You have to have the fire extinguishers. Are they going to be automatic, that if a vehicle starts leaking or catches fire, you're going to be able to get these vehicles extinguished immediately, you know, because they're not like the gas vehicles. And this is what part of this whole new garage is about. We've got to keep them inside, and I want to make sure if we're spending all this money, which we don't know exactly how much the cost of this facility is going to be, that we need to make sure that we're building it correctly and we don't come back with change orders. We all know about change orders, cha-ching, cha-ching. So we need to make sure that there's proper ventilation in the building because of, now is this going to be on any part of the toxic waste that had to do with the building that was here before, that we bought from, I believe it was the Docus family? that was out front here? Because I know you've got part of your, what is it, the Parks and Recs that's in the building over there, and this whole thing was kind of toxic because he had, I believe, a shop here, he did stuff. So I just want to make sure that there's proper ventilation in the building because of the ground that was here. I don't know if people knew the history of this area. And how much of a cost will it be if there's toxic cells out there to do a cleanup? I hope I'm not boring anybody here, but, these are questions that I don't know if they were asked, or if anybody, if they haven't been asked, this is what you have to ask, because, you got the landfill, and you got, the drainage, and then you've got the pipes with the methane gas coming out, so you've got to make sure that this building around it doesn't, have any of the gases going in. And what about the mice and the rats that are around the landfill that I think you had problems with your card director, that they got in there and chewed some of the wires. So you've got to make sure that all these vehicles that are out there, because you have rats at the landfill, because that's common, because it's trash, and if you have mice, that they don't get into the vehicle and chew up all the wires, because if they do, what's going to happen is going to cost more money, because now you got to fix everything. Does this make sense to everybody? I hope so. Because I don't see when any of these questions were asked. I just see when Director Cummings comes up and puts his whole beautiful building, and at first it cost $2.2 million for a study. Now they want $5.5 million. First the building's going to last 30 years. Now the building's going to last 20 years. These buildings should last 100 years or more if you have the proper maintenance and you continue fixing the buildings. No building should be torn down because of lack of maintenance. And this is what we have in the city. We tear them down and we build, and then 30 years later, that's what you're giving the life of it. Not a building. We have historical buildings in this city that you didn't give them a life of 20 or 30 years. So I think that's really a lot of the big questions here on the building. The rodent problems, we've got to make sure that we don't have that in the buildings, because rodents get in the building and their droppings are toxic to everybody, and we don't need any new buildings, because we remember the building you were in prior to this. When it was purchased, with some of the members of the Board of Aldermen, that building was purchased and they knew there was a toxic building. It was a sick building when that building was purchased. I think that's about it. But one other thing, Director, when I was at the meeting here on July 24th, I had asked for some information under the right to know law, which I don't believe I ever received, and that was the cost for that big sign that you want to erect at the front of the building, that you've asked several times for the zoning board to reschedule you. And I have it here in the minutes of the meeting. Does the public use this building, I asked. Whoever comes in here, is it going to speak, what do they say here? We're going to, who uses the building, and what basically is going to be the cost of that big monument out front, which you could go with a small one like you did with the landfill, because this is an administrative building. People don't really need to see this building like they do the landfill, because that's where people go. People don't come to this building to dump their trash. They go to the landfill right down the street. So I hope that I can get answers to all this, since it is a public meeting, and I guess I'm asking for it under the right to know law, which I asked the last time, but I guess there's no right to know for residents in this city. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, moving on, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're going into a general progress update on the DPW garage project. With us is Mr. Dave Hurley of Left Field And I'll turn at this point the meeting over to Dave. And, you know, Lisa, if you have additional, excuse me, Ms. Bodo, if you have additional comment on that.
Okay.
So if one of you want to lead off, please.
Sure. I was just going to say that we have been meeting weekly with the team, with the architect, and with left field and city staff, and we've been discussing coordination. Right now, I think our permits are the biggest critical path right now that we're trying to push forward with, and that's sort of a heavy lift. So IMEG, who's working for HKT, is working on that. And we are at design development with our architect, and we are also working with the fire department on the relocation of the fire training grounds. So those are, I think, probably the biggest things, but I'll turn it over to Dave Hurley to give an overview.
Thanks, Lisa. First off, it's nice to meet all of you. This is probably my first meeting with the majority of you. I know I met Michael at the fire commissioners meeting, but yeah, good evening. Yeah, so as Lisa summarized, as she said, we're continuing to work with the design team. Harvey Construction is working on the DD set estimate. We anticipate having that number back for the next joint meeting. They are anticipating getting us numbers to review by the end of this week, early next week. So left field, Harvey will sit down at the round table, go through all the numbers and all the detail, and see if there's any pain points that we need to dive into. Coordination continues with Bode, which is a Harvey subcontractor, with HKT in regards to the details of tying in the conventional framing portions of the building with the pre-engineered metal building, which is going to be the vehicle storage portion. As Lisa mentioned, IMEG has begun the submission of key permits, including the wetlands dredge and fill permit, the fish and game package. We learned today that they actually did submit the AOT permit today, so that submission's underway. That was one of the critical path items, so that's great to hear. And in the next coming weeks, they plan to submit a site plan package to the ZBA and the planning board. We had some additional test pits completed on site in July. We got the results back from those to help inform the civil and site work. We also had our environmentalists visit the site to perform asbestos testing on the landfill maintenance building, which will be scheduled to be demolished when the project moves forwards. And we were happy to find no detectable ACMs were found, asbestos containing materials. So those are just some of the highlighted completed tasks to date. And again, this next slide, the civil drawing, just highlighting the limit of work for the proposed project. Not much has changed, but again, as I mentioned, IMEG submissions are now in with the various departments, and you were subject, to whatever comments they may have on the site plan. So as it stands, this is our ideal and proposed site plan. If anything is to change due to the NHDES or any other agencies, and we'll be sure to update the team here. And next steps, as I mentioned, we are going to do a cost estimate reconciliation once Harvey completes the DD set cost estimate. Dive into the numbers, again, see if there's any opportunities for any value engineering or management to refine any costs, and go through all the details and see what we're being proposed for materials and various items throughout the building. Other than that, we're just all systems go, trying to maintain progress with the project. And as Lisa said, we're meeting on a regular basis on our weekly meeting with the full team. And left field continues to meet with the architects and the construction manager on a weekly basis as well.
Okay, anybody of the joint committee have any questions? Okay, I do have one, Mr. Hurley. In public comment, we did hear some things, and the soil testing, is there hazards and pipes and different things, and LNG or, the gas vehicles and everything else like that. We have existing fire codes for that, correct? And when we build a building, it's all got to be existing building code, fire code, electrical code.
Absolutely.
as standards, and as far as any hazardous materials, that's been all checked with the perk test and everything else like that, correct?
That is absolutely correct. To your point, everything is being designed to the modern day code. We just performed additional test pits, which is when we dig into the soil and get a characterization of those soils. And our engineers are tasked with giving us a specification on the soils and how that's going to be managed, whether it's to be removed and disposed of off-site, or whether it can be, reused in certain application in the site work. So, we need the engineer to fully specify that, but that's absolutely being considered as part of this project. I will say, HKT, one of their sub-consultants, HDR, is specific to industrial engineering. They did an audit and looked at all of the equipment that's going to be in the building, specifically the vehicle storage building, looking at all the various characteristics of all the equipment, what's the fuel source, size, everything in between. That drives, the mechanical systems, the HVAC systems, and the fire protection systems. So it's all very much part of the process. Like you said, code these days, whether people think it's cost prohibitive for a reason, because it's life safety, and we want to make sure that the building can withstand all those various features. So HDR is the industrial engineer, as I mentioned, and they're tasked with identifying all of those aspects of the building.
Thank you for that, because it is something that the citizen that spoke was correct. I mean, the people we don't put it on the billboard, but it's all part of the modern by code and proper construction techniques to take care of some of those mentioned concerns. Correct. All right, well, thank you, Mr. Hurley. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Photo, you're all set?
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move into approval of invoices for the DPW garage project. Alderman Clee, do you have a motion?
I certainly do. I motion to approve the August 13th, 2025 HKT architecture invoice in the amount of $239,050.28.
Okay. Any presentation? Yes,
I heard 239, is it 293?
I have 239 on my sheet here. Is it 293 in the?
It's $293,050.28.
Okay, let me change that then. So my motion will be invoice in the amount of $293,050.28. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay. Very good. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Clay, an additional motion?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I motion to approve the July 31st, 2025 GSI Geotechnical Services in the amount of $900.
Okay. Any discussion, inquiry? Okay, seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Additional motion, Alderman Clay.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. I motion to approve the July 31st, 2025 left field OPM in the amount of $26,500.
Okay. Any questions? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Clay.
Thank you again. Motion to approve the August 9th, 2025 UEC hazmat testing in the amount of $2,200.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we're going to get into the DPW garage project, the approval of contract proposals and amendments. You don't have Mr. Sullivan. Are you
Director.
I was going to say, Mr. Chair,
Okay,
that...
I'll
we're-
recognize Director Photo, please.
Thank you. This is actually, has been pulled. It was in your original packet, but there's more discussion that needs to happen with this, so we ask that you not take action on this evening.
Okay. All right, we'll pull that and perhaps maybe bring it up at the next future meeting. Okay, very good.
So the next one, item will be removed.
Well, did DPW garage project approval to sign applications? I don't have, do you have anything there?
That was just a motion to approve either Director Cummings or myself to be able to sign any application such as zoning
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
on behalf of
Alrighty.
the
Yeah.
I'll put that in.
committee.
So do you want me to make that motion?
Yeah, could you please?
I will, yeah, absolutely. I motion to approve Director Lisa Photo and Director Tim Cummings to execute DPW garage project permit applications.
Okay, any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Although,
I think Alderman-
yes,
I
I'm
think
sorry.
Alderman Thibodeau.
Alderman Thibodeau.
Yeah, I have a couple questions that I reached out to Director Cummings for regarding permit applications and just for my own knowledge of why we would be looking to get permits before the project was actually approved to move forward. And he did address those with me and we were getting around why municipalities would, get those ahead of time and stuff. So I was originally concerned and confused on why that was happening, but from everything I heard from Director Cummings and my own edification, that it makes sense to me now why that happens even before the project is necessarily fully approved. That was it.
Yep, no, very good. Any other? Okay, seeing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Now, on to the wastewater treatment facility, excuse me, general progress update. Would you be with that, Director Photo?
Sure, I can give a quick update on that. We are still in the programming phase. We have not even started schematic design on the wastewater treatment garage. We're working with staff to try to, I guess, modify the project a little bit and make sure that it's going to meet our needs, but not more than what we need. So I'm still working with staff on that, and I expect to have the programming review done next week with staff, and then hand that over to the architect at that time, and then they will begin schematic design.
Okay. Any questions? Okay.
More
I
invoices.
I think that was just basically advisory, correct? Or do you
Yes.
need
Yeah, correct.
You don't need a motion.
No, that's correct.
All right, super. We're going to get back to approval of invoices for the wastewater treatment facility. Alderman Clee, do you have a motion?
I absolutely do. I motion to approve the August 1st, 2025 HKT Architect invoice in the amount of $69,166.25.
Discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Further amendments, Alderman Clee?
Yes, I have a motion to approve the August 30th, 2025 left field OPM invoice in the amount of $26,500.
Okay. Any questions by the committee? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any
I have one
additional-
more.
Yes.
I have one more invoice here, and I motion to approve the June 30th, 2025 left field OPM invoice in the amount of $26,500.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, now on to approval of contracts and proposals and amendments of the wastewater treatment facility. Alderman Clayton.
Yep, I motion to approve a contract proposal with HTK Architecture Services through DD in the amount of $259,893.
Any discussion? Okay, Alderman Sullivan.
Thank you. Going off of Director Photo's comments about where you were, which seems we're still behind the starting line. We really haven't gone anywhere yet, as far as we're still in schematics at this point.
Yes,
It's just
We're in
my
early
impression that we're a little
schematics.
early on this contract.
that we're a little early for this.
Yeah,
Well, once we get the information to the architect, then, which will be next week, then they will need this funding to be able to do the rest of schematic design through design development.
okay, can I, have we figured out how we're gonna fund this? Has this been funded?
Yeah, this will be funded through the wastewater fund, not through bond,
Okay.
Through. at this point.
So so just walk me through the process one more time. You're gonna talk schematics with the architect, and then from the information that you gather from there, you're going to then submit that information, then this contract kicks in, and then they can go to work on designing.
So let me explain just a little bit further to you.
Thank you.
So, we had a workshop first, and a charrette, as they call it, which was really helpful. So, and there was a whole lot of staff there that were giving input on, what the needs were. And so then from that, the architect developed some programming. So that included basically what our needs, what she got out of the charrette of what our needs are. So and also like some just very, very basic sort of outlines. It's a very tight site. It's going to be a challenge to try to fit the building on where we want it. So I am taking the programming documents and going over that with staff to say, is what, our architect, is what she heard correct? And we're making some changes. The building turned out to be, honestly, through the programming, a bit larger than what we believe we need. So now we're sort of scaling it down to meet our needs. And so once we do that and we figure out all of the space needs, then we will get that back to the architect, and then she'll start going into, full-blown schematic design, where she'll be putting together some concepts for us and all of that. And then, the engineers get involved and all of that in that. So, yes, so this contract will be for that once we get back to her next week. And I actually hoped that we would have gotten back to her by now, but there's been a lot going on and vacations, and we just haven't been able to get it done. But next week, we have a meeting to get it finished.
So if I could just ask you a follow-up,
Sure.
will this contract and this amount and everything that you've outlined, is that gonna, that will give us more concrete understanding of size, scope, and cost?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes, that's correct.
okay. All right, thank you for explaining it.
Problem.
Okay, any further discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Wastewater treatment facility approval to sign applications. Alderman Clayton.
Mr. Chairman, I motion to approve Director Lisa Photo and Director Cummings to executive wastewater treatment facility permit applications.
Yeah.
I think it should be to execute, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Any discussion on the motion? Okay, and you did make, yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, Director Cummings and Director Photo will be execute, not
Not executive, yeah. This just doesn't make any sense here.
I like-
Execute.
As an Irishman, I always like it when we get to correct the King's English, yes. All right, very good. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Other expenditures for approval.
There are none.
Okay. And old business?
There is none?
Okay. Before we get into adjournment, the next meeting, we're talking about scheduling it for Thursday, September 25th, 2025. What's the good time? 5:30 like we did before?
It seemed to work pretty
Yeah.
well, if that's
Okay,
okay.
we'll go with
the
5.
The entire committee.
30, and it will be here again?
Yes.
Okay, it will be right here in West
5:30?
Hollis Street, yeah, 5:30. Okay. Alderman Clay, do I have a motion?
Absolutely. I motion to adjourn.
Okay, the motion is to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and we're adjourned at 6:06.